This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Suedharz. But before that, this video is brought to you by Joel Robinson and David. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Suedharz map can be found at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.2 release of this map is available for PC players only. Now, the reason this map is available for PC players only is threefold. One, this is a 4X map, and as of yet, we have never seen a 4X map be released and stay released on console. Two, this map does make use of additional scripts. And three, this map does make use of additional multi-terrain angle. And again, we have yet to see a map get released for console that is using more terrain angles than the base game. Let's go ahead and read the description. Welcome to the Southern Harz Nature Park and the green Southern Harz karst landscape, which is unique in Europe, in northern Thuringia. Interesting, because we had a second Thuringia-based map just a little bit ago. This map extends from the outskirts of Nordhausen in the west, in the border of Saxony-Anhalt in the east. Approximately a 10 by 4 kilometer area. Now, this is a 4X map, so its playable area is starting out at 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers square. Although, what we're going to see when we actually get into the map is we don't actually have the ability to play across all of that 4 kilometer by 4 kilometer area. This map is based on a real landscape, 20,000 fellable trees, 92 fields, 255 buyable areas, 6 villages. There are pedestrians. This map also has pre-placed Autodrive courses. Now, I don't use Autodrive, but I have heard that these Autodrive courses may be a little questionable. So your mileage may vary, pun very much intended there, with respect to the Autodrive courses. There are collectible coins on this map, and I will show you where one of those collectible coins is located, so you then have a general idea of what you're looking for. Snow on roofs in the wintertime. There are multi-terrain angles, as I said. Church bell towers ring at the hour, and the number of bells matches the time. That is pretty cool. Additional sounds. Seed fertilizer can be replenished from the upper courtyard. There is a lumber mill that produces log boards. There's a bakery that produces buns. Production values have been rebalanced. Harvest amounts and prices have also been adjusted. There are multiple greenhouses. There's a dairy, grape processing, 2 sawmills, pallet manufacturing, a mill, bakery, and BGA. Let's go ahead and load on in. Now, we are going to use the mods that we typically use when we take a look at map set as additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. I will say, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you will find the farm exactly how you're going to see it here in new farmer mode, being that you do have machinery in all play modes. You also have the starting buildings in all play modes as well. The only difference is you do not own any land in those alternate play modes. In addition, if you play with this map in precision farming, this map does make use of the generic soil map. This map has lots of unique buildings, and that's what we're seeing load in right here. All of the unique buildings and such that are scattered around the map. So it is going to take a little bit longer to load this map up than maybe a typical map that is reusing several buildings and other assets across its area. And now that we're loaded on in, let's go ahead and kind of take a look at our starting area and the PDA itself. One of the first things I think you're going to see on this PDA is this large forest to the north and this large area of forest down here in the southeast corner. Do note, that is outside of the playable bounds. So as I said, while this map is based on a 4x area, its actual playable area is far, far less than that. So this entire area to the north, about where I am drawing a line here, is outside of the playable bounds area, and as such does not have any trees. There are no trees up here whatsoever. I know it kind of looks like there are trees based on the PDA, but no, there are no trees up here at all. And in fact, most of this area down here to the southeast is also completely barren of trees as well. A little bit of a disappointment because when I saw the PDA on the website, it's like, wow, that is going to be a ton of forestry. Can really combine your forestry and your farming together on this particular map, but nope. That is outside the play area. Now we take a look at our crops. We do not have all of the crops that are available to us in Farm Sim 22 on this particular map. In fact, we are missing cotton, sugarcane, and olives. So we will not be able to grow cotton, sugarcane, or olives on this particular map. Take a look at our lands area. You'll see what I kind of mean by the out of bounds. So all of this area that is blue, that is to the north and to the south and to the east, that is all out of bounds area. We do own it at the start, oddly enough, and it is 2,911 acres in size. Really wish we could make use of that because I think it would be really cool for forestry fans to be able to have all of that area available to them and all of this area available to them. Then we've got these decorative fields over here kind of to the northwest and then down to the south that are also going to be kind of out of bounds, if you will, but they are there to give you a little bit of a sense of the map continuing on. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen, and we're going to go here because we own an absolute bunch of farmlands at the start, and this is going to be a whole lot easier to pick out which farmlands we own and which farmlands we do not own at the start. So as far as farmlands that we do own, we own farmland 2, 4, 7, 9, 15, 18, 21, 22, 24, 26, 33, 35, 36, 39, 41, 43, 58, 61, 62, 63, 68, 72, 77, 78, 89, and then the large out of bounds area 255. We start out with all of that farmland at the start in new farmer mode. Now let's go ahead and kind of scroll through the listing of the farmlands we do not own at the start, and we can cross-reference that with the field numbers that are also a part of the map and how big the viable farmlands are and how much those farmlands are going to cost us. At any point in time, you can stop this scrolling and just take a little closer look because we are going to move right on from looking at the farmland lease screen to looking at the field calculator screen, and the field calculator screen is going to show us the actual sizes of each specific field itself. So as far as fields we own at the start, we own fields 2, 4, 7, 9, 15, 18, 21, 22, 24, 26, 33, 35, 36, 39, 41, 43, 58, 61, 62, 63, 68, 72, 78, and 89. As far as fields that are available for purchase, well, let's go ahead and kind of scroll through this list. And again, you can cross-reference the field number with the farmland ID number, which seem to match up 1-to-1, and then kind of get an idea of how much any one given field is going to cost you to buy it. Let's go ahead and see how that generic soil map is applied to these fields. Just south from the starting area, we have a lump of silty clay. The starting area is a good mix of loam. And then to the north, we have our sandy loam and loamy sand. But since we do own fields kind of scattered throughout the entirety of the area, we are going to own fields of all the various soil types. Taking a look at our crop counter, we do have what looks like it looks kind of like the generic crop counter a little bit. Maybe subtly changed. Honestly, I'm not able to pick up the differences there because, again, we are missing some crops, so the screen does look a little bit different than what I am necessarily used to seeing. Take a look at our prices screen. You will see that we do have the ability to sell all of the crops that we can actually grow on this particular map. Again, we do not have olives listed as an available crop, nor do we have the ability to sell cotton or sugarcane, but again, those two crops are also not listed under the main crops PDA listing. We do have sell points for animal outputs and eggs, wool, and milk. Silage, hay, straw, and grass can also be sold. And then as we move down through our productions, well, things start to fall apart. They start to fall apart in a big way. We do not have the ability to sell cakes. We do not have the ability to sell fabric or clothing. We also do not have the ability to sell cereal. It's pretty obvious we don't have the ability to sell olive oil since we can't grow olives. But what also we cannot sell is we cannot sell raisins or grape juice. And you may remember, I said we had a grape processing facility on this map. So we do have the ability to produce grapes and grape juice, just don't have the ability to sell it without putting down our own sell point. We also are lacking the ability to sell chocolate and planks. And then we do have the ability to buy bulk lime. We do not have a stone crusher pre-placed on the map. So if you are playing with stones enabled, you will need to put down your own stone crusher. We do, as far as new production, we have rolls available, longwood, and then Euro pallets. As far as our platinum expansion production items, we do not have a way of selling any of the platinum expansion items. But again, that really isn't expected at this point in time. We are not going to be taking off points until 2023 with respect to not having the ability to sell platinum stuff built in. Also, if you are playing with pumps and hoses, we do not have a way of selling our separated manure at typically the animal dealer. So you will need to put down your own sell point for separated manure or find another use for it. As far as our vehicle overview, we do not lease any of our machinery. It is all owned, and for the most part, all of it is well maintained. We do not own any animals at the start, but there are 5 animal pens scattered around the map that we do have the ability to put animals in, even if we do not own the land. We do have contracts available, and we do own all of the production items already at the start in new farmer mode. So you can see we have a dairy. We have a sawmill that is going to produce longwood. We have Euro pallet factory that is going to take our longwood and make Euro pallets. We have our grain mill. We have a bakery that can make rolls and cakes, but we don't have a way of getting rid of said cakes unless we put down our own sell point. We have our biogas plant. We also have our sawmill that is going to take wood and longwood, as well as Euro pallets and make furniture and wood chips. We have our grape processing center that's going to take grapes and Euro pallets and make pallets of raisins and grape juice that we can't do anything with, again, until we put down our own sell point. And then we round it all out with a pair of small greenhouses. This map does have 50 custom collectibles, and I did mention at the intro that we are going to take a look at where one of those said collectibles is located, so you have a little bit of an idea as to what to look for. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the New Holland T7 315 medium tractor and the Massey Ferguson 7722S medium tractor. We have the New Holland T8 350 Genesis large tractor. We have the CH 7.70 New Holland harvester that is paired up with the Superflex 25-foot grain header and the Nardi N40BX header trailer. We've got our 2017 pickup truck, a pair of Welger DK115 grain trailers. We also have a pair of Kuverlin EcoMat plows. We have the Samgard 9500K Limpkin cultivator, the Rebel Classic 600T disc harrow. We have the Pottinger Terrasem C6F seeder. We have the Hardy trailed fertilizer and herbicide sprayer. We have the 3-point hitch connected Amazon ZATS 3200 fertilize spreader for solid fertilizer. We have the Hauer XB 190 front loader arms. And then we have 3 weights. We have a 1500 kilogram, 1100 kilogram, and 650 kilogram front weight. Taking a look at our mods and DLCs, we do have some custom pallets that we can purchase at the shop. We have a sugar pallet, we have a longwood pallet, and we have Euro pallets that we can buy at the shop, which is pretty nice. So if we do not want to have to do forestry to make our Euro pallets or make our longwood, we don't have to worry about it because we could buy those pallets at the shop. So this is our starting farmhouse. We do have a sleep trigger on the inside. And then we also have our harvester here right beside our farmhouse. And some sheds. And then the rest of the farm equipment is going to be kind of just across the street. Located right here. But before we go in there, I want to show you where one of the collectibles are. So right here we have a pile of debris. And within that pile of debris, you're going to find right there a coin buried within the pile of debris. And that is your collectible. You see that coin is now gone. $2,000 for finding that collectible. Good luck in finding the other 49 of those because, whoa, that is one small collectible. So as far as our farm buildings, all of the farm buildings on the map are permanently placed. Can we customize the farms? No. So the map score is going to take a pretty big hit here with a big fat 0 with respect to being able to customize the farm buildings. We do have a bulk buy point for seed located right here, as well as fertilizer. This is our farm silo output. Then as far as our farm silo dump grate, that is going to be located right here. All of our farm machinery is located up along the fence line. And then within the shed, we're going to find our 3 farm tractors. Let me go ahead and prep for our fly around. We're going to fly around the map. We're going to talk a little bit more about the out of bounds area and kind of how much I wish that kind of extended on to really make use of the entirety of the 4X map play area that is available on the map. Then we're going to come back to the shop, get in our Mahindra, and drive around. We get a little bit of altitude here. We'll pull up the main PDA in nice big format. And as we look off to the north, that entire hillside off to the north there, that is completely barren of trees. That is outside the playable area. And really, there is a massive amount of potential playable area beyond that. And I think that is really a sad thing. We could have had 40,000 trees on this map if we had trees beyond that playable area. This map has quite the rolling hills and the terrain elevation changes. We're going to see that during our fly around. And then this area also, off in the distance, that is also completely barren of trees on that hilltop, which is a little confusing because there are 3 fields located down here in the extreme southeast corner of the map. I'm really not sure why these fields exist, because at a normal play height, you're never going to see these fields when you get down to about here, which is going to be about the extent of the playable boundaries. So I'm not really sure why these fields are over here, unless the map author intended to make all of this playable area, and then at some point just decided the map was good enough and wanted to get it out. I'm going to take this road and kind of make our way down the southwest part of the map. You will see how the terrain kind of just falls away here. Lots of varied terrain. You're going to want some tractors with some pretty good horsepower on this map because of that varied terrain. You're also seeing we do have utility poles running through the fields. These utility poles do have collisions, as you'll see right here. So you will need to pay attention to those pole locations if you are using course play or hired help. They will avoid those areas at all costs. So that is something also to be aware of. Coming into our second town, the description said this map had 6 towns. We have an animal pen that we're going to take a closer look at during the drive around. A pair of what looks like silage bunkers here. Let's see if they are functional. They are indeed functional, so that's nice to see. We've got a pair of functional silage bunkers. Here we have our sawmill for our long boards, I believe. Then we have our 2 greenhouses located down here. We have several sell points down here, as well as our animal dealer. Then we have our other sawmill located right here, and this, I believe, is going to be for making the board wood, the long wood. As we come across the southern part of the map. Now, when I first took a look at this map a few days ago, I thought this map had some issues. I thought the map was first unfinished because when I was doing my fly around, I would basically fly over into that area that was unfinished, and I thought to myself, well, that's weird. Why do we have this large area without any trees? And then I was flying around, and I didn't think this map had any sort of boundary wall. But it turns out the map does have a collision wall. It's just incredibly short. So if you are doing anything other than literally driving around, you're not going to run into that boundary wall. You're basically going to be able to completely fly beyond the border of the map. In fact, we can kind of see that boundary wall right here. It's shaded a little bit. So if we are low enough, we're going to run into that boundary wall and we're going to be prohibited from moving along. If we're a little bit higher, well, now we're outside the playable bounds of the map. So you can kind of see how I ran into that disillusion of this map not having a boundary wall initially, because when I do kind of explore these maps, I do fly around them at kind of this height, and typically that's not a problem because typically we have large collision walls that extend well above how high a player would typically be. Now this area is really interesting. We've got some dead wood kind of scattered around. Always like seeing trees not completely straight. That's a little bit of a kind of detail that I like to see on maps, because not every tree is going to be growing perfectly straight up and down. Now we are back within the player bounds, or the playable bounds. Coming to another town, toward the southeast of the playable area. We have another animal pen down here. We have another sawmill. Now, with respect to production, there are 10 productions built in. We've already taken a look at the productions in the production screen because we own them all at the start. With a dairy, sawmill, pallet factory, grain mill, bakery, BGA, sawmill, grape processing center, which again, I think is a little bit of an oversight because of the fact that we do not have the ability to sell our raisins or grape juice. Then we have the 2 greenhouses. So we are going to give the map a full point with respect to having production built in or areas set aside for such. With respect to having the ability to sell all of the base game crops, production outputs, and animal outputs, we are going to give the map 3/4 of a point there. Now, we do not have the ability to sell olives, sugarcane, or cotton, but that is not that big of a deal because, well, we don't have the ability to grow those either. But we are missing the ability to sell a fair bit of various production areas. And some of those production areas we're even able to produce on the map with the production areas that are pre-placed, like cakes, raisins, and grape juice. We also have planks that we can't sell. That's fine. I don't think the sawmills are set up to make planks or set up to make longwood. So we have another animal pen down below. So again, we're swinging around this large hillside, which is outside the playable bounds. But imagine if that whole area was completely covered in more trees and you were able to get up there and get into the forest. That would make probably a pretty old good time for lots of players. Coming in here to another small village. We have some more sell points. Located below, I believe we have a vehicle repair shop down here. And such. We have what looks like our dairy directly in front of us. Then as we come across what is the northern part of the playable area, we have a pretty big chunk of the map again to our right now that is completely outside of the playable bounds. And again, man, would that be nice if all of that was forest. All the way across. That would be so cool. You'd have a decent amount of farming land down here, and you'd have a significant area of forest to the north to really get your platinum expansion on, if you will. So we've just about come full circle. We made our way over here to the vehicle shop momentarily. Then we're going to jump into our Mahindra and drive around to all of these various points of interest. Here we have our biogas plant. Our horse pasture. Chicken area. Again, this is the main starting farm. So our vehicle shop is right around the corner from our starting farmyard area. It is directly below here, but you can see our farmhouse is just over there. You see our yellow harvester parked right beside our farmhouse. Then we have our farmyard located right there. And then right below, right here, we have our vehicle shop. And at the vehicle shop, we actually have our third tractor, our Massey Ferguson, and our fertilizer spreader. So not a large area at all for our new vehicles to spawn in at. Not a large area at all. So you won't want to be buying too many pieces of machinery before you come in here and clear this area out. We do have a fuel point as well as a pressure washer located down here. I don't think we can use this building, but let's just check. Oh, we can indeed. So that's nice to see. Now, something, we'll go ahead and talk about this. As far as textures on the map, most of these buildings are using older textures. And that is definitely something that we're going to factor into our scoring system. Buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique to provide a 3D look. No. We do have some 3D round textures that we haven't taken a look at. We have those here, some pretty standard Farm Sim 22 ground textures. We've got standard Farm Sim 22 crop textures. These have come over from one of the base game maps. I forget which one, but they are listed here as mods. As far as our buildings go, there are no custom buildings or silos, extensions, containers. We're talking all base game stuff here. We do have the shed here, and we have a kind of an American style farmhouse, which is interesting because we don't have the ability to sell our farmhouse, but we do have that area. As far as custom production, we do not have the ability to put down additional custom production for the bakery that makes the rolls or for the sawmill that makes the planks. So if you want to make more rolls or planks, you're going to be pretty much down and out there. All of our animal areas are base game stuff as well. So we are going to give the map just a quarter of a point with respect to buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique. Let's make our way around and kind of try to do a little maybe summary of our scoring to date, because I've been a little maybe scattered around. Give the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such. We also have given the map 3/4 of a point with respect to the ability to sell our base game crops, production outputs, and animal outputs, because we do have a kind of a decent listing of things that we are missing as far as being able to produce but not sell. We're giving the map 0 points with respect to having farms be customizable, because none of the farms are customizable. All of the buildings are pre-placed and permanently embedded upon the map. And we talked about giving the map 1/4 of a point with respect to the buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique. Some are these newer building models, and some are not. 15 horses in this particular horse area. Then we have our dump point for our food. Let's see if I can come around the back here. Now this is listing a manure heap, so not really sure if these horses are going to be pumping out poo or not. There we go. There we go, and then we have our biogas plant. We have some nice machine sheds here. We have fuel. 3-sided silage bunker. We have our digester and our interactive icon here at the top. Some more silage bunkers. Then we have our digestate output located over here. We'll continue on around. I think that's what we're seeing. There's a lot of triggers very close by. It'll be fairly easy to kind of get a little lost in the shuffle here. So we have our bakery. We have our interactive trigger around the front. We have our dump station and our pallet spawn point here on the back. Remember, the bakery is going to be able to also make the new rolls as well as the bread, but we do not have the ability to sell our cakes, which we can also produce here at the bakery. Wind our way around these narrow roads. Now this is going to be storage. This is going to be bale storage. All right, so we can bring our bales and deposit them over here. And then we're going to be able to pull our bales out from over here with this particular bale storage facility. I don't think anybody would mind us driving over the grass here. We have another production facility here. This is going to be the grain mill. We have our pallet spawn point. We have our interactive trigger. We have our dump station, and then we have our dump point for our pallets also here alongside. See if we can make our way to the east village. Coming through here. As we've seen, the map has fairly narrow roads. So again, you're probably going to want to come through here with smaller machinery. Smaller implements, but you're going to need larger horsepower tractors to combat the hilly terrain. We have field 33 to our area 33. I guess to our left. Area 36 to our right. I guess also to our left at that point. I like the layout on the map. I think the map is really interesting. A little disappointed that I initially thought the map was unfinished because some of those visual clues just weren't there for me with respect to the boundary wall. Right, I was able to just continue on and basically fly over into no playable area, no man's land, if you will. So here we have a grain sell point. Let's go ahead and identify what this particular place is called. This is the selling station Stampeda. Then we have our grape processing center and our selling station straw. and our selling station vehicles. So here we have our straw selling area. Oh, darn DHL truck. Here we have the grape processing facility. So we have our Euro pallets. We have our dump point for our grapes. We have our interactive icon and our pallet spawn point. But again, we do not have the ability to sell raisins or grape juice built in. So we are kind of needing to put down our own point or not produce those items. Here we have our vehicle selling station. One thing I want to see is if we can return this or if it's just a maintenance area. So we do have the ability to return this, so this should be our customized repair, sell, trade icon. A fair bit removed from the vehicle dealer, but it is available on the map nonetheless. I got a feeling we're going to be following this DHL guy around a lot. Maybe we'll be able to get in front of him. Let's head over here to the dairy. So we have our interactive icon, we have our dump point for our milk. We have our dump point for our pallets, our Euro pallets. Then we have our pallet spawn point. Right there. I was kind of hoping we'd be down here through town when one of the church bells was dinging, but maybe not. We're gonna have to go off-road. A little off-roading to get back to where we need to be. Put some high traction tires on this Mahindra. The advantage of this map layout is if you're a player that likes to drive around or wants to have that sense of being in a large, spacious area, well, you're going to have that with this map because quite a long drive to get from various points to the other areas. We've got fuel or food trigger. We've got a water trigger, most likely there in the middle. Slurry. We have a milk point, so this is most likely a cow area. 40 cows can go in this facility. We also have a food trough there. And we have a manure heap. So again, we've got the low building textures. You may not be bothered by that. Other people may be very bothered by that, especially given the contrast of the other map textures as comparative to those building textures. So go ahead and kind of make our way around to the southern town. Hopefully we've lost that DHL guy. And here we have one of the sawmills. Now, it feels like there's one extra sawmill than we're expecting to have here. So this sawmill is going to produce furniture, wood, Euro pallets, and longwood. It's going to make furniture and wood chips. So obviously we have our log drop-off point and our wood cell trigger. We have our pallet pickup point. Then we have our wood chip point. It's kind of interesting. We talked about how we had so much land here at the start of this video, and I'm looking at it now, and we basically have land all around the map and all the various towns. So in order to kind of get around the map and see the things that there are to see, the map author has basically had it so that we are able to own that land. You just saw that car take off. And it's because these cars kind of follow the speed limits, and as they get out of town, they get a little bit of a lead foot. So here we have the pigsty. 30 pigs in this facility. We have our food trough. We have our manure heap. Our slurry point. And then we have another food area here. So this is going to be for food. This is going to be no doubt for water. Now we'll make our way down to the final village. Village over here in the southwest. Hopefully this road will take us around to there. Now we're running along that boundary wall. I'm not really sure why it's slightly shaded, unless it was done that way so the player, when they're close to it, they would realize they were close to the map boundary. But, you know, given the fact that we've got a short wall here, right? well done with respect to the map, giving you that sense that it's continuing on. Winding through this deadwood forest. There we go. Now, with respect to the final scoring metric, player and interactive areas being clearly marked, I do feel that they are clearly marked on the map. I haven't really led a whole lot of confusion as to where things are needing to go. So I'm going to go ahead and give the map a full point there as well. So that's going to basically give this map a score of 3 out of 5. Now, we lost a significant amount of points with respect to the starting farm area being completely built into the map and as such not customizable whatsoever. So if we did have a customizable farm, then our score would have basically have been bumped up to around a 4 out of 5, which isn't all that bad. Then we also are lacking the ability to sell several production items, so it would have been nice to have seen the ability to actually sell grapes and or grape juice and raisins, because we can produce those. It would also have been nice to see the ability to sell cakes, because we can produce cakes as well. Kind of coming in around the back area here. Inside of here we have a grain sell point. We have a sugar beet sell point. We have our animal dealer. We have a potato sell point. We have a buy point for lime. And then we have a production sell point to sell pallets. So if that other sawmill produced furniture, let's see what this one produces. This one is going to produce Euro pallets. We're going to need long wood. And we're going to then get Euro pallets out of that, as well as wood chips. Then we have our 2 greenhouses. Make our way over here to our last animal pen. So this is going to be for our sheep. 15 sheep. We have our food trough. We have our water trough over there. And then we have our spawn point for our wool pallets. Then the last thing I want to take a look at is this other sawmill that's down here. We've already talked about our pallet factory. Then we do actually have 2 sawmills on the map. I'm just recognizing that from my list of production nodes. We do have 2 sawmills. So here we have the other sawmill, and this one is going to make our longwood. So we have our wood drop-off point, we have our wood chip, then we have our longwood board pallets right there. So guys, let me know down in the comments below, what do you all think of Suedharz? Interesting 4X map. I do wish that we did have the ability to make use of that large area to the north that is all completely barren of trees and is pretty much out of bounds. And I also wish we had a good chunk of that hill to the southeast as well. But regardless of that, I think the map is very well done. I like how it looks. I like the flow of the roads, the terrain elevation changes. Fields are not all that large, given the fact that we've got some fairly tight roads going through here. You're not going to be able to use the largest of your machines with much ease on this map. So I think it's going to work out well for someone looking to play with small to medium machinery, willing to put in some time to drive around to the various sell points in other areas as well. And until next time, happy farming.